In preparation for ADCC, a lot of athletes put a huge emphasis on wrestling. Even though takedowns rarely score points in ADCC, wrestling can be a great way to wear down your opponent, but more importantly, it allows you to get to top position. And in the 77 kilogram division, almost 84% of back takes happen from the top position. So the way people who initiate the takedown win matches is by using a takedown to get directly to the back. And if you can't directly get to the back, be sure to secure top position, which is the most reliable route to the back. So in my opinion, when you're preparing for ADCC, wrestling should be a priority, which is why myself and a lot of people who watched my analysis of the 66 kilogram division were shocked to see that the person initiating a takedown had just a slight advantage over the person defending the takedown, but it was pretty much negligible. But that makes a bit of sense considering those 66 kilogram guys have skinny arms that can slide in for guillotines. And they have crafty guards that revolve around leg locks. So maybe at 66 you can get away with playing guard, but as you move up in weight class, you're gonna need to get to top position. Well, the data is in, and in the 77 kilogram division, there were plenty of guillotines, and the #1 overall submission was a heel hook. And these two statistics might explain why in the 66 kilogram division, you had a 52% chance of winning if you initiated a takedown. But as we go up a weight division to the 77 kilogram division, if you initiate a takedown, you now only have a 45% chance of winning, meaning that the advantage is now on the side of the person countering. And I think it's easy to just write this off and say it's because jiu-jitsu people suck at wrestling.
I really stink, man.
We all stink. You're in good company, Jay.
And we need to be better about chain wrestling and setting up our takedowns. So you can use an arm drag to set up your single leg and then finish with a double leg, instead of just running right into a guillotine. So the people that are preparing for ADCC by practicing their chain wrestling and takedown setups, I think are going to be in for a rude awakening. Because even in collegiate wrestling, where people have extremely good setups in chain wrestling, they get countered a lot.
John talked about is that the highest percentage thing in collegiate wrestling that he was talking about is on the defensive side. So blocking a takedown and then spinning around to the back.
And in jiu-jitsu, that can mean getting your back taken, or even worse, the end of the match. Now, when you look at the data from the 66 kilogram division, you can see that there were 6 guillotines, which is not insignificant, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. But in the 77 kilogram division, there were 28 guillotines, and it was the 3rd most common submission. And in my opinion, this spike in guillotines is something that we need to address. So before you go down the road of pouring hours of your training time into developing your wrestling at the expense of other skills, please subscribe and follow along for part 2, where I will go through the data and give you what I believe to be a roadmap to the most effective way to use wrestling in ADCC, so you can make the most out of your training time.
Do you draw on your wisdom from these high percentages, John, for like in terms of what to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. Jiu-jitsu has an ocean of moves, and you can get lost on that ocean. You can drift for a long period of time and end up with very little to show for it. Yeah. So my whole thing is focus.